What is the actual definition of a recession? Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to talk about recession. We're hearing it over and over and over again. Everyone's got their opinion as to whether or not we're in a recession. Are we not in a recession? The Fed hasn't said we're in a recession. So does that mean we're not in a recession? Absolutely not. If you're waiting for the Fed to decide whether or not we're in a recession, I think there's other issues and other problems that we need to deal with. But I don't need the Fed to tell me that we're in a recession. Now, by definition, some people will say a recession is 2 consecutive quarters of declining GDP, gross domestic product. So let's jump into this article today from Forbes as it relates to a recession and see what the official definition actually is according to some other experts. So the official recession definition: during a recession, the economy struggles, people lose work, companies make fewer sales, and the country's overall economic output declines. The point where the economy officially falls into a recession depends on a variety of factors. The most popular was 2 consecutive quarters of declining GDP, as I mentioned. A healthy economy expands over time. So 2 consecutive quarters in a row of contracting output suggests there are serious underlying problems. This definition of a recession became a common standard over the years. So again, that is the most common definition. We're going to jump into one more, but this is the reality. A lot of the reports that are out there are showing that consumers believe they're in a recession because their standard of living has definitely declined. And in my book, that is where you need to decide for yourself whether or not it's a recession or not. The reality is everything costs more money for all of us right now. Now, the job situation that we're in right now, jobs are actually relatively strong overall. There are a lot of industries, especially on the real estate side, which is what I'm in, that there's still some shortages of workers in a lot of different situations. And so we are definitely in what I would consider a recession, even though the Fed hasn't officially declared it. Let's jump into the second definition. The National Bureau of Economic Research is generally recognized as the authority that defines the starting and ending dates of a U.S. recession. NBER has its own definition of what constitutes a recession, namely a significant decline in economic activity spread across the economy lasting more than a few months, normally visible in real GDP, real income, employment, industrial production, and wholesale retail sales. Okay, so that's a mouthful. Let's just condense this down. Essentially, if employment's strong, according to the NBER, employment is strong, they're saying 4 months of decline in GDP, which we haven't really got to that point yet. And again, employment's relatively strong overall. Now, wages, on the other hand, are not keeping up with inflation. It's not even close. So as the inflation keeps ticking up, unfortunately, wages are not going in the same direction. They're either stagnant for a lot of people, and for some people, they're actually going down, because what happens is this: as we stop spending money, me as a consumer as well as everyone else who consumes, when we cut back, businesses are not selling as much. So guess what happens? Layoffs are going to happen at some point. So obviously, we've seen a ton of layoffs in the real estate industry. Why? Because business is slowed down, right? So you got all these big box lenders laying people off left and right, even the smaller lenders, and same in the real estate industry. So you see these layoffs because the supply is more than the demand, way more than the demand as far as the amount of workers that were needed, right? So demand's gone down dramatically. Now these companies don't need as many workers, so they lay people off. So for your specific situation, I want to hear your feedback. Do you think we're in a recession right now? Let me know in the comments below. So what actually causes a recession? There's several things. I'm just going to skim through these really quick. Sudden economic shock, right? COVID, that was an absolute economic shock for all of us. Excessive debt, this is another one. Asset bubbles, too much inflation, too much deflation, technological change, Those are the main causes of inflation. And I won't dive all the way into these. I'm actually going to link this article in the description so you guys can actually check it out. And one other thing to keep in mind, we just had another 75 basis point hike from the Fed, and Powell's leaving himself open for another increase in September. So we're going to see how this pans out with the Fed. If we get another hike in September, things are definitely going to shift a whole lot more. And I think we're going to be more and more into a recession if that happens. So how long does a recession actually last? Now, there's no real way to predict how long one will last, but NBER tracks the average length of U.S. recessions. According to NBER data, 1945 to 2009, the average recession lasted about 11 months. This is an improvement over earlier eras. From 1854 to 1919, the average recession lasted 21 months. My God, I hope that never happens again in our lifetime. Over the past 30 years, the U.S. has gone through 4 recessions. The COVID-19 recession, the Great Recession, 2007-2009, that is the one most people are familiar with, the dot-com recession from March 2001 to November 2001, and the Gulf War recession from 1990 to 1991. So are we in a recession or not? In my opinion, absolutely. And unfortunately, I do believe it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. So we're going to get on the other side of this at some point, guys. Just hang tight. Get your finances in order. Get your money straight. Get your credit straight. Pay down those credit cards. Pay off any revolving debt or pay it down, right? Pay it down. You don't necessarily need to pay it off, but you want to max out your credit score. And a best way to do that is to keep your revolving debt low. Make all your payments on time and get yourself prepared for that opportunity when it does present itself and you're ready to jump on the opportunity to buy your next home. So guys, if you're getting value from this video, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and remember, don't just make a move, make a power move. I will see you on the next video.